Every country has its own rules, regulations, and culture about driving. So, of course, anytime you travel to another country, there will be some differences from what you are used to at home. Norway is no different, so if you will be traveling here, I'll cover some of the most important aspects of driving in this country, especially up north. Oh, and all those busy big city postcards you're seeing, that's just one of my little jokes. Up here in vast Finnmark County, the biggest city you will find is Alta at around 20,000 people. The closest thing to a rush hour traffic jam will be waiting for somebody to let you turn left so you can cross the Alta River Bridge. The only 4-lane road you'll find up here is in your imagination. Norway is a land of well-trained drivers. In order to get your license, you have to take a theory test and then take classes on how to drive and then practice driving. And then take a special class for driving on slippery roads, and then take a class for driving at night. And then, assuming that you don't need more practice time, you can take your practical test with a very nice evaluator from Statens vegvesen. All those classes do not come cheap. 10 to 15,000 kroner is common, so getting your license is a big deal. Because everyone is so well trained, they expect that everyone they meet on the road is also well trained. They assume that you will do the right things at the right time, so be prepared for some annoyed looks or a wagging finger if you are still learning to get around. Yeah, actually, some people do wag their finger at you when you do something wrong here. So much for road rage. There are 2 concepts that you must be ready for. First, pedestrians here in Norway have the right of way in crosswalks, no exceptions. If you come from a country like the USA, you are probably used to the idea that crosswalks on the road are places where pedestrians are supposed to cross the street when no cars are actually coming, but in the absence of a red light, they'd better just stand there at the side of the road if you're driving past. In Norway, you're expected to slow down if it looks like someone is approaching the street to cross, and come to a polite stop if they do cross. Don't even think about gunning past them because you are in a hurry and both of their feet are not technically in the roadway yet. Stop and let them cross. The thing is, so many people here are so trusting that many do not even look one way before they cross, they just steam right out into the crosswalk. The other thing you need to get ready for is a thing called vikeplikt, which translates as the duty to yield. Also, høyreregel, which means the right side rule. It is not a difficult idea to describe, but it will bend your brain trying to actually follow it on the road unless you are from a country where this sort of thing is common, which in the USA it's not. Here is how høyreregel works. No matter how big or small the road you are on, if you come to an intersection and somebody on your right is going to enter your road, you have to let them in. It doesn't matter if they are turning left or right or crossing. Slow down or stop because the people on the right have priority. No, there's no stop signs or anything. You just have to think about it. Now see, that wasn't so bad. The bad part is all the exceptions. Let's begin. First, see this diamond sign? If your road has one of these, then it is a priority road, which means everybody driving on that road has priority, which means that you do not stop for the people on your right. These tend to appear only on main roads, but not all main roads have them, so make sure you find the diamond sign before you decide you are on a priority road. Also, the right side rule only applies to streets, not driveways. So if someone is on your right at a street that has a street sign, even if it looks like a driveway, you need to yield. But if it's just a driveway with no street sign, then there's no need to yield. Then, if you're driving down a road and somebody on your right wants to turn left in front of you, but they can't because there are a lot of cars coming the other way on your road, then you shouldn't stop because even though the car on the right has priority, they are unable to make their turn. If you come to a stop anyway and just sit there and wait for the intersection to clear, you will irritate the people behind you who cannot understand why you are stopped at the intersection for no reason. That's a finger-wagging moment. And when it is your turn to turn onto a non-priority, non-diamond road, don't screw around if there is traffic on your left. If you sit there and wait for them to come to a complete stop, you will get dirty looks again because the other drivers cannot figure out if you are going to turn or if you're drunk. And that brings us to the next issue, breaking the law. There are some really long, open stretches of road across Finnmarksvidda, the wide mountain plateau up here. You can drive up to 2 times the speed limit and probably not kill yourself or others, at least in the summer. But what you will kill is your bank account if the police are running a speed trap. Speeding tickets here are extremely expensive, many thousands of kroner. And if you are driving fast enough with a Norwegian license, you will lose your license and possibly go to jail. If you don't think it's so bad to speed, then do try out drinking and driving. The culture up here in the Arctic is very tolerant of drinking too much, up until it is time to drive. Then, the laws and the culture both are very strict. You will be judged intoxicated with practically any amount of alcohol in your blood while driving. If you decide to have a couple of beers before driving home, you will risk serious consequences and raise some uncomfortable eyebrows from your friends. It really is frowned upon. And rest assured, if the police stop you for any reason, they will administer a breath test right away when they stop you, and no, you don't get to refuse it. So if you are going to drink at all, don't drive at all, period. Other than that, most of my advice has to do with the weather. If you're planning to drive up here in the winter, make sure you have some experience with doing that. Our snow and ice is just like everybody else's snow and ice, but we are trained to drive in it. If you are driving your own car up into the frozen north, make sure it has good fresh snow tires. It's the law, and it's also just plain dumb to try and get around in the snow with summer tires. Renting a car? Those will have the right tires. And be careful about the seasons here. Summer here is at a minimum from mid-July to mid-September. If you're coming up in June, it might be summer, but it also might be snowing, so be prepared. Also in the winter, don't make a tight driving itinerary. You never know when high winds or snowstorms will pop up, even if they aren't in the weather forecast. By all means, drive up to North Cape, but not the day before your airplane leaves from Alta. If you are coming up to Alta, or through Alta to other parts of Finnmark, let us know if we can help with booking transportation, accommodation, fun tours, or other services. We're not that expensive to work with, and it can be good to have local friends making sure your holiday is working as intended. Thanks for listening.